I guarantee you that this is the only modern Dayfarer Backpack V2 review that you'll ever have to watch. Last year, I published one of our most popular videos titled My 7 Favorite Bags. And in that video, I said this: modern Dayfarer Backpack, which, like, official announcement, it's kind of my choice for my favorite everyday carry. Well, today we are the first YouTube channel to get a look at V2 of my favorite EDC backpack of all time. In this review, I'll show you everything you need to know about this bag. I'm gonna also compare it to V1 of the modern Dayfarer backpack to let you know the pros and the cons and the changes that were made. And you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of this review where I'll make some alternative recommendations in case this pack is not the pack for you. Okay, let's start off by talking about the gist of the modern Dayfarer backpack V2. Ultimately, this is an urban gym/work backpack. Urban because of the look and the build, a lot of quick access, magnetic features, things that you don't really want in the wilderness, but you do want in a city. And the gym work stuff because we have a lot of organization, great for tech gear. It looks the business part, but then when you gotta go to the gym and pump some iron, that's what this section is for. It's a shoe compartment, so you can put your gym shoes in there. It's basically taking an old school rucksack backpack and like catapulting it into the future and securing it with this super modern and satisfying fidlock magnet. Let's talk about a few differences between V2 and V1. The first difference is going to be a difference in shape. Notice the profile. V1 has a bit of a boxier look, right? Like literally you got like a freaking rectangle right here, right? That's because there's a bit more padding on these sides and it just was built in a way that it's kind of like a box, which was, for me, one of my least favorite parts about the modern Dayfarer backpack. V2, in contrast though, has a more of like a compressible thing going on. You stay. As you can see, we have like the box-like shape at the bottom, but then it sort of comes to a point at the top, which is one of the coolest parts of the bag because it's actually a 24 liter when fully packed out. And see, we kind of like got that boxiness going on again. But then the times where you're not carrying as much gear, you can go ahead, push that in, tighten the top, and now we're down to around 18 liters. A few other quick differences. V1 used 1680D ballistic nylon. V2 uses 840D. I'll talk about whether or not I think that was the right decision in the next part of this review. V1's back panel has a totally different design and fabric, and that extends to the shoulder straps as well. As to where V2 is a little bit more simplified and uses a different material, which I'll talk about in detail in just a moment. The front pocket in V1 was a little bit obvious as it was right here, but in V2, it's actually hidden behind this panel right there. And one other noticeable difference is that on V1, this side pocket has a little bit more space due to that padding, right? Having a little more rigid of a structure. Where V2's, because it collapses, is just a little bit tighter, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll sort of explain it in the middle section of this review. Some quick specs. It's a very urban style and only comes in one color option, black. It comes in weighing 2.2 pounds. I'm gonna pack this bag out throughout the entire review so you can see exactly how it packs out. This is the bag on me. For reference, I'm 5'8". And for all you see before you, the modern Dayfarer Backpack V2 runs around 200 USD. But as of recording, like right now, modern Dayfarer is running a pre-sale on this bag where it's only $180. And if you're thinking to yourself, $180, I'm in, or 200, let's do it. And you're gonna make a purchase, we do ask that you do so using the first link in the description. That link makes sure that you get the best price, and it also helps to support the Nomad Nation YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Okay, let's kick off the review by talking about the front of the modern Dayfarer Backpack V2. First up, materials. This is an 840D nylon with a water repellent coating. Ballistic nylon is some of the best materials that backpacks can possibly be made out of. And you can see right here in V1, they used 1680, which is the same material, still ballistic nylon, but the actual balls, the ballistic part of the nylon, they're just bigger. And on the newer version, it's just a little bit more of a finer look and feel. Which for me totally works because I personally like the look of 840D ballistic nylon a little bit more. It's a bit more subtle, it's a bit more anonymous, but there is a weakness with 840D ballistic nylon, which I'll explain to you in just a minute. The front of this pack is pretty minimalist. We really just got one pocket to talk about, which is this guy right here. This is sort of like a front access, quick access pocket. It uses a YKK zip. It's not a PU coated zipper, so keep that in mind, but the fact that it's hidden behind this section should help keep it safe from the elements, right? It's less likely to get rained on. The section is very basic. There's no internal organization. It's just this pocket, which runs basically this whole square right there. And once you're inside, you can see modern Dayfarer uses some of my favorite internal materials in the game. This right here is a ripstop nylon. This is really high quality. It's got a great feel to it, but I also like the look. I love a lighter color in a backpack for two reasons. One, it's just kind of like, I don't know, refreshing, just to kind of see aesthetically. But also it has a functional purpose as to where it kind of creates a highlight effect. These pockets can be dark and difficult to get to and just sort of like enclosed, and the brightness of this material just kind of helps to give it a shine, which makes it easier to find your gear located in these pockets. For me, I use this section for my health things. I got some tissues, I got a wipe, I've got some nicotine gum. I got that all in there, but the good news is it's actually a lot bigger of a compartment. I was using my moleskin in there earlier. But for me, a couple of things, good to go like that. Now, remember when I said that there is a downside for 840D ballistic nylon, and what that is you can see sort of these little bubbles that are appearing on the modern Dayfarer Backpack V2. For me, these bubbles mean like nothing, like it's not that big of a deal. And the harsh lighting, I literally have a light like this big, like right here. So it's really just like shining on it right now. But it is something to be aware of. And it might be one of the negative aspects of switching from the other ballistic nylon, because this one, it works a lot smoother. You can see no air bubbles. So sort of pros and cons with every decision, with every material, right? Something I definitely wanted to point out. Like I said, not a deal breaker for me. Actually, I want to know what you think though. Like, which material do you prefer? Do you like the beefier 1680D ballistic nylon or the finer 840D ballistic nylon? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's talk about the biggest thing in terms of like this bag's character and identity, which is this fidlock magnet and getting into the main compartment, which we can then lead into the next section with. One thing that modern Dayfarer did with this bag that I liked is they added this little dangle stopper, as I like to call them. Because when you pay 200 bucks for a backpack, you don't want dangles flopping all over the place. So they go ahead and implemented this guy right there, and it just keeps that excess nylon in its place. It's a lot more tidy, which is great for a business backpack because you want to look like you're not a crazy person. The nylon itself is a very high quality nylon. Good material. They didn't skimp on this, which I quite like, especially because you're going to be interacting with this a lot. And then it connects at the top to the fidlock magnet. Now, if you don't know, Fidlock is a company that just makes magnets. It's all they do, and they're the freaking best at it. This magnet is no exception. It can be a little bit confusing at first. You're not sure how to, because you do one of these, like it isn't, but actually it's just a little slider magnet. You just go ahead and do one of those, and the magnet's off. And the good news is that you don't have to like slide it back on. It just sort of pops itself back into place. And when you want to get into the main compartment, you just pop this open, and then kaboom, we're in the main compartment. So kaboom, let's go to the next section. Let's talk about the middle of the modern Dayfarer Backpack V2. So I'm not gonna lie, top loader backpacks suck. At least the old school ones do. Because new school backpack makers were like, yeah, top loaders, that really sucks. I don't wanna have to do one of these to find what I'm looking for. So modern Dayfarer was kind enough to give us zips on both sides, which help open the bag up, and voila, now we've got access to the main compartment. These zips also YKK, but they are AquaGuard. That means they are weather resistant. It should be noted with this setup, you're not gonna really get quick access into the bag while you're wearing it, but there's enough quick access on the other parts of the bag, which we'll talk about in just a second, as to where that doesn't really bother me too much. In the main compartment, we have this flap right here, where we have a mesh pocket and then a non-mesh pocket. I'll be honest, I've never been too crazy about modern Dayfarer's mesh. I usually like a little bit more of a silky or elasticy mesh. This is the opposite. I'm sure it's very durable, but it's got like a little, it's not sticky, but it's got a little bit like a rubbery feel to it. For me, it's a good spot for some tech stuff though. I'm gonna put my mouse pad wrist holder thing and then my Apple Magic Mouse. Zip that up. Below it, another pocket, nothing really much to say, just a basic pocket, ripstop nylon. I think it's a good spot for my backup tote. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Perfection. Now the other side of the main compartment, actually pretty basic. Now you might be noticing right here, we got this excess material, and you might be thinking to yourself, Aaron, what in God's name is that? That is part of the shoe compartment, which is accessible at the bottom right here. Let's sort of talk about the whole thing. So the shoe compartment is great for anybody who's doing the gym/business life. So right here I got a pair of Nikes. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them in. It looks like it's tight, but it actually has more room than it looks. Oh yeah, some room to spare. So these are size 9s, like I said. I don't know what size shoe it fits, but my 9s fit very comfortably with room to spare. You can go ahead and zip it up and you're good to go. And one nice little touch is, see these little holes right there? That's for ventilation, because gym shoes can get a little stinky sometimes. And this makes sure that gym stank doesn't sort of like infect the rest of the pack. But let's say you're like me and you don't really ever use a backpack for an extra pair of shoes, right? So the cool news is that if you're not using it, you can go ahead, close this guy up, and then instead of having this excess material just sort of flopping all over the place, you can fold it up, and then there's a little Velcro guy down here, and you can keep it nice and tidy, and voila, out of sight, out of mind. Now let's sort of pack out this main compartment. Right here in the back, we have like just a pretty basic section. This is good maybe for your gym towel or gym clothes, but for me, I'm just using it for a notebook right now. I got sort of my work notebook and then my personal moleskin notebook. I like putting books there because it's like a flush area on the back, right? It's nice, stiff, and it just works out pretty nicely. And then let's sort of pack out the main compartment. I got, let's see, we'll start with the Aer Slim Tech Pouch. I got my hard case for my Sony headphones. Put a jacket on top in case it gets a little crispy out. That's it, it's a light packing day. Close it up. And perfect, you can see as to where we are maintaining our slim silhouette. The backpack's not like, I'm gonna be a box no matter what. That's what V1 would say. V2 is saying, yo, I'm gonna be whatever you need me to be. And right now you don't need me to be in full box form. But let's say we did need it to be in full box form. Maybe we're going on a weekend trip. We're packing some more stuff. Pretend this pillow is weekend travel trip stuff. And now you can see we're in business, baby. That's a 24-liter pack. The compression has done its job when we're not using it, but when we need it, it sort of expands. And then we go ahead and loosen the fidlock buckle, snap it on there, and now that is one versatile backpack. A few more points about the middle of the pack. Let's talk about this side. On this side, we have two components. We have a handle and an exterior water bottle pocket. The handle, pretty simple, nice padding, not much to say about it. If you do want to go in briefcase mode, you can carry this bag sideways, but it should be noted there's no way to strap the shoulder straps. It's not a pure briefcase / backpack, but I like this just as like another point of like leveraging and moving the bag around. Let's talk about the water bottle holder. Now V1 had a very cool water bottle holder, which was held nice and flush against the bag. And then when you wanted to put your water bottle in there, you would unzip it and open it, right? And then you get the expansion, and then when you're not using it, nice and tidy. I was a big fan of it, but it wasn't necessarily necessary. And I'm glad that they kind of got rid of it, because I think that this experience is a little bit easier. Just sort of a more traditional water bottle holder, like why reinvent the wheel? As you can see, the water bottle holder still stays flush, right? Because you got this guy sort of bringing it into place. And you've got this gusset right here, which keeps it from expanding too much. And you gym folk out there will be very happy to know that it's a big water bottle holder. So for instance, I got a 22-ounce water bottle from Columbia here, and you can see it fits with a ton of room to spare. I'm not sure how big of a water bottle will fit in this holder, but bigger than a 22-ounce for sure. Let's flip it to the other side. We've got a side pocket, accessible right here, and you can see it sort of opens up. And then in this side pocket, there's two smaller pockets. Now remember on the inside, the main compartment, I was saying I don't like the mesh so much. This mesh, I feel the complete opposite about. I love it. It's silky, it's elasticy. And there's two of these guys. And this whole pocket runs sort of like this, like the entire cutout of the side panel. Now here's why I love this pocket. Access. And most importantly, quick access. When I need something, I just want to swing the bag over, unzip a pocket, and grab what I need. And that's what this pocket and this design and this bag in general allows you to have, because let me kind of pull it all together for you. Because we have this pocket, right, where you can quickly access your keys, and these two pockets as well. But the front pocket, let's say I wanted to grab my tissues, right, in my health section in the front, kaboom, all right here. The bag like this just makes my life so much easier. But one thing to know about this pocket is because of its compressible nature on the sides, it's not quite as easy to access as V1 was. but honestly, it's still fine, if not still awesome. So this is a section where I like to put my Apple headphones on the top pocket and then my sunglasses on the bottom pocket. Both are things that I need to access quickly. And when I'm done with the pocket, I just go ahead and zip it up, pop it on with my day. And obviously we have a key ring holder right here. Great solution. I'm gonna go ahead and pop my keys on top and then yet again, quick access. I'm getting home from a long day of working at the co-working space. I don't have to take my bag off. I just swing it around and then boom, keys are right here. Have I made it very clear that side access is important to me? Because on that note, I don't know if you know, but here at Nomads Nation, we're actually building our own backpack from the ground up and documenting the entire experience on the Nomads Nation YouTube channel. I bring it up now because the bag that I'm building is going to have next level side quick access as well. It's crucial for me. But I also want to hear what you think about backpacks. And that's why I've sort of opened up this experience. I'm documenting the entire thing and I'm actually having you vote, if you want, on some of the key features of the backpack. Pocket locations, colors, materials, you name it, I want to hear what you got to say. So if helping me build this backpack sounds interesting to you, be sure to check out the second link in the description. That link will bring you to our Building a Backpack homepage where you can sign up and you'll get sent a survey right away. I hope to see you in your inbox. Now it should be noted, as opposed to V1, you might get a little confused because this pocket is sort of hidden underneath, which is great for security and for weather resistance, but it makes it just maybe gives you a half a second longer to try and figure out where the pocket is. And when you're trying to find the zip, if you have the bag really tight, it makes it a little bit more compromised, so you might want to loosen it up. I'm not sure how you like to carry your bag. For me, I like to keep my bag as tight as possible, but that will constrict the access. But you might grab the wrong zipper because also you've got the zipper for the laptop compartment, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay, let's talk about the back of the modern Dayfarer Backpack V2. First up, laptop compartment. A lot of laptop compartments, they sort of extend all the way down, they can open up and clamshell, but modern Dayfarer says, screw that, dude. I got a waterproof YKK zip, really nice materials on the inside, great padding, and one of the falsiest bottoms ever. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I got my 13-inch MacBook Pro laptop here. By the way, the bag says that it can fit up to most 16-inch laptops. My 13-inch then, plenty of room to spare. You can see right there, it's nice and snug at the bottom without feeling like it's too far down, like it's like a black hole of laptop death. But I love the false bottom because the laptop literally stops right there. So that's the bottom of the laptop compartment, which means if you were like me and you're slightly clumsy and you sort of drop your bag, it's gonna be protected. And this could be one of the biggest protection gaps of a false bottom I've ever seen. Yeah, it's right here. Personally, I'm a huge fan of that. My laptop is my life, so I just love knowing that it has that extra protection, not only on the bottom, but the padding here is quite good as well. On both sides, it's a great laptop compartment. Moving down, we have a handle right here. I like the handle being on the back. It doesn't really compromise the functionality of it. It's still very easy to grab and to use and to move the bag around. Decent amount of padding on it. A really nice grip too. It's not super tight against the bag, and it has a nice amount of width to it as well, so it's just easy to grab when you need to grab it. Okay, now let's talk about the back panel and the shoulder straps. One of my biggest criticisms of V1 of the modern Dayfarer backpack was the back panel. Namely, I just thought that this blob at the bottom felt awkward sometimes. It wasn't painful, it was just noticeable. And with the back panel, you don't really want to notice it, you just want to not notice it. And I'm so smitten to hear that modern Dayfarer probably watched my review and took my advice, and now we don't have that bottom little blob anymore, and it's just this nice one of these, you know? And what I like about it is not only does it increase the comfort, but in my opinion, something like this increases the ventilation as well. There's no weird system, it's just you got this nice little cut right down the middle where air can sort of flow in and flow out of, therefore fighting something that we all hate, back sweat. The materials are also changed as well. This is a softer material. It feels silky almost. The other material that they used to use was a lot coarser, but the padding is a little bit harder. So where the material is softer, the padding is a little bit harder. But for me, I was cool with it. It feels very comfortable. The shoulder straps are a little bit tougher than I'm used to, but the back padding itself has a nice sponginess to it. Very comfortable. Now you're probably looking at the back panel and you're like, Aaron, that's it, move on. That's not it. We have a hidden back pocket. Right against this back panel, you can see we got a zipper popping out right there. And when you unzip that zip, what do you got in there, Aaron? What do you got? Et voila, my wallet. The Peak Design stand wallet. This pocket is ideal for things like your wallet or your passport, things that have a lot of value, that are flat in shape, and that you want protected. And when it's against your back, it's very protected. I will say I had a bit of a difficult time accessing the zipper pocket sometimes. Reason being, the zipper's a little small, it gets kind of caught in there, and there's no zipper pull. V1 had a zipper pull. You can add one yourself if you want, or if you prefer the security and the secrecy, you don't have to. And then if you're traveling with this bag and you are traveling with luggage, you can see right here we have a luggage pass-through holder, which means that when you got your luggage, you go ahead and click up the handle and you slide it over top of the handle and kaboom, you're traveling with luggage. Unfortunately, it's going on sideways. Not my favorite. I always prefer when it can just do upright, but rather to have that than to not have it. Shoulder straps. I think that these are pretty dense. I have a tendency to prefer shoulder straps that are a little bit more cushiony. But having said that, there's a little bit of cushion for the pushing. Same softer material right here, a silky, smoother sort of a feel. And wearing it just feels really nice. I think that the shoulder straps will break in with time. And you can see at the top too, it's not coming too close to my neck. There's no neck pinchage, new word, happening. Moving down the shoulder strap, we have a external lash point right here. So if you want to clip a carabiner onto it, or maybe just pass your sunglasses through there, these things can come in handy, they're useful. There's two actually, one on the top, one on the bottom. For the hardware, what are you? Woojin, great company, great brand, and always appreciated. Modern Dayfarer has added a nylon web holder, or as Aaron likes to call it, a dangle stopper. Because yet again, I spent 200 frickin' bucks on this bag. I don't want this thing doing this thing. I want it nice and secure and tidy. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of the Modern Dayfarer Backpack V2. Pro number one, the ability to compress to an 18-liter backpack, yet expand to a 24-liter backpack. Pro number two is going to be the price point. At $200, I personally think this backpack is quite the steal. And pro number three, a no-brainer for me, all the different quick access points, which makes urban living a million bajillion times better. But on the flip side, I have a few cons that need to be brought to your attention, and here they are. Con number one, we got a little bit of bubbling going on the top with the 840D ballistic nylon, which slightly with the aesthetic. Con number two is the hidden back wallet pocket. It's a little bit tight and therefore difficult to access sometimes. And con number three, I do love the back panel. I do wish that maybe these shoulder straps were a little less dense and a little bit softer in their padding. So if you've taken all the pros and all the cons into consideration and you're thinking to yourself, Aaron, I'm picking up what you're putting down. This EDC frickin' rocks. I'm getting one. Then we do ask that you make your purchase using the first link in the description. That link makes sure that you get the best price, and it also helps support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel. Thank you very much. But let's say you are not 100% convinced. You're like, Aaron, I get that's possibly your favorite, but what are some other of your favorites that are kind of similar? Don't worry, I got your back. Alternative recommendation number one is going to be the Nomatic Backpack. This is a backpack that can expand from 20 to 24 liters and similarly has a businessy vibe with lots of organization. To learn more about the Nomatic Backpack, head on down to the description below and you'll find a link to our full review. Alternative recommendation number two is going to be the Evergoods CPL24. A super versatile backpack that's good for hiking, biking, business, gym, whatever you want it to be, and sort of a cult classic and some really great quick access. To learn more about the Evergoods CPL24, head on down to the description below and you'll find a link to our full review. And alternative recommendation number three is going to be the Aer City Pack Pro. It's 24 liters, great for tech gear and traveling, has some great quick access as well, and was probably the biggest bag drop of 2022. To learn more about the Aer City Pack Pro, just go ahead and watch this video right here. Let us know what you think in the comments below at the Modern Dayfarer V2. Is it better than the V1? Is quick access as important to you as it is to me? Let me hear your thoughts. My name's Aaron, this is Nomads Nation, and we'll see you next time.